A single drop of this venom can kill an adult in under 30 seconds. The Kryllian death spider carries enough toxin to eliminate an entire platoon. Military scientists across 12 star systems classify it as a Class 9 biological weapon. Contact with skin causes immediate necrosis. Inhalation means certain death. So when Lieutenant David Torres lifted the extraction vial to his lips and drank the entire contents, every alien in the research station thought they were watching a suicide. But he didn't die. He got stronger. What happened next rewrote everything we thought we knew about human biology. It sparked a diplomatic crisis that nearly tore apart the Galactic Council, and it revealed a truth about humanity that terrifies half the known universe. Here's what you're about to discover. First, why humans can do something with toxins that no other species in the galaxy can survive. Second, the military secret that 3 governments tried to bury, and the scientist who paid the ultimate price for exposing it. And third, the shocking reason why humanity's greatest strength might actually be evolution's most dangerous mistake. This isn't science fiction. This is documented reality from the Interstellar Medical Archive. And when you understand what really happened in that research station, you'll never look at human biology the same way again. The incident occurred on Research Station Kepler-7. The date was October 14, 2847, and what started as a routine toxicology study became the most classified event in human military history. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Research Station Kepler-7 orbits a dying red dwarf in the Outer Rim territories. The facility specializes in xenobiology. Scientists from 17 different species work there. Their mission is simple: catalog alien life forms and understand their biological mechanisms. Most of the work is boring, slow, safe. But in 2847, everything changed. The Galactic Council had just approved a joint military research program. The goal was to develop universal antidotes for biological weapons. Every species contributed their most dangerous organisms. The Vraxians brought crystalline bacteria that dissolve bone. The Tholkar provided spores that shut down neural activity in seconds. And the Kryllians arrived with their death spider. Nobody expected humans to participate. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council 40 years earlier. We were the new species, the young race. Other civilizations had thousands of years of space travel. We barely had functional quantum drives. Most aliens saw us as primitive, interesting maybe, but not particularly special. The Kryllian death spider changed that perception forever. Dr. Elena Vasquez led the human research team. She had 3 assistants: Lieutenant David Torres, a military medic, Dr. Priya Nakamura, a biochemist, and technical specialist Robert Kim, who handled all the containment systems. They were assigned to study the Kryllian specimen because, frankly, nobody else wanted it. The death spider is horrifying even by alien standards. It's roughly the size of a human hand. 8 legs covered in barbed hairs, mandibles that can pierce combat armor, and venom glands that produce the most lethal neurotoxin ever recorded. A single spider carries enough poison to kill 300 sentient beings. The toxin attacks the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, and the cellular membrane simultaneously. Death occurs in 20 to 40 seconds. There is no antidote. There is no treatment. Every species that has encountered this venom has the same outcome: complete biological shutdown. The Kryllians evolved on a death world. Everything there is poisonous. Their entire ecosystem is a chemical arms race. They've developed incredible resistance to toxins as a result, but even Kryllians don't drink death spider venom. Nobody does. Dr. Vasquez spent 3 weeks analyzing the venom's molecular structure. She documented 47 different neurotoxic compounds. Each one could kill independently. Together, they formed a perfect biological weapon. Her report concluded that no universal antidote was possible. The venom was simply too complex, too fast-acting, too efficient. That's when Lieutenant Torres made his proposal. He wanted to test it on himself. Now here's where things get really interesting. Torres wasn't being reckless. He was being scientific. 3 days before his proposal, he'd discovered something in the medical archives, a footnote in a 200-year-old toxicology study. During Earth's early space exploration, a human colonist on Titan base had survived a Venusian crystal wasp sting. That venom was supposed to be universally lethal. Every test subject from every species had died within minutes. But the human lived. The medical team at the time dismissed it as a fluke. Maybe the wasp hadn't injected a full dose. Maybe the colonist had a genetic mutation. They filed the report and moved on. Nobody investigated further. Torres saw a pattern. He pulled every incident report involving human exposure to alien toxins. Over 2 centuries of space colonization, there were 47 cases, 17 different species of venomous organisms. The expected survival rate was 0%. The actual human survival rate was 32%. That's impossible for any known species in the galaxy. The Vraxians have the second best toxin resistance. Their survival rate against novel alien poisons is 6%. Humans were surviving at 5 times that rate, and nobody had noticed because nobody was looking. But why? The answer lies in Earth's evolutionary history. Our planet is uniquely hostile. We forget this because we evolved here. It's normal to us. But from a galactic perspective, Earth is a biological nightmare. We have more venomous species per square kilometer than 90% of habitable worlds. Snakes, spiders, scorpions, jellyfish, plants that cause paralysis, insects that inject digestive enzymes, bacteria that produce toxins as waste products. Humans didn't just survive in this environment. We thrived. Our immune systems evolved to handle constant chemical warfare. Our liver can process over 500 different toxins. Our kidneys filter blood 40 times per day. Our cellular repair mechanisms work faster than almost any other species. We even have specialized proteins that can bind to toxins and neutralize them before they reach vital organs. This is baseline human biology. Every person has these systems, but Torres had something extra. He'd grown up in the Australian outback. As a child, he'd been bitten by a king brown snake. That's one of Earth's deadliest reptiles. The venom should have killed him. Instead, he spent 3 days in intensive care and walked out with no permanent damage. His immune system had done something remarkable. It had learned from the attack. Medical scans showed that Torres carried antibodies for 17 different snake venoms. He'd only been exposed to one. His body had somehow generalized the response. It had created a template. When it encountered one type of venom, it built defenses against related compounds. This is adaptive immunity taken to an extreme. Dr. Vasquez was skeptical. She ran every test she could think of. Blood work, genetic sequencing, cellular stress analysis. Torres's biology was within normal human parameters. He wasn't a mutant. He wasn't enhanced. He was just a human who'd survived a childhood snakebite, but his proposal was still insane. Drinking Kryllian venom was different from testing it in controlled doses. There would be no time for treatment if something went wrong. The toxin worked too fast. If his theory was wrong, he would die before they could even intubate him. The station commander refused to authorize the experiment. The Galactic Medical Ethics Board called it suicidal. The Kryllian ambassador filed a formal complaint. They said using their venom for reckless human experimentation was an insult to their species. The Vraxian head of research wanted Torres removed from the station entirely. So Torres went off the books. On October 14th at Euro 300 station time, he entered the xenobiology lab alone. Dr. Nakamura had left the containment codes on her workstation. Later, she claimed it was an accident. Torres extracted 5 milliliters of pure death spider venom. That's 10 times the lethal dose for any known species. He recorded everything. Visual log, biometric monitors, neural activity scan. If he died, at least the data would survive. Then he drank it. The first 30 seconds were normal. He stood still, breathing steady, heart rate at 72 beats per minute. The monitoring equipment showed venom compounds entering his bloodstream. They spread fast, chest, abdomen, extremities. At 40 seconds, he should have been dead. Instead, his pupils dilated. His heart rate jumped to 140. His core temperature increased by 2 degrees. The biometric sensors screamed warnings. Every indicator said his body was shutting down. But he didn't collapse. His immune system had triggered a response unlike anything recorded in medical literature. White blood cell count increased by 300% in 90 seconds. His liver started producing enzymes that don't exist in standard human biology. His cellular membranes restructured to prevent toxin absorption. He was fighting back. At the 2-minute mark, Torres smiled at the camera. His vitals were stabilizing. The venom was still in his system. Scans confirmed that. But it wasn't killing him. His body was actively breaking down the compounds, learning them, storing the information. By minute 5, he was metabolizing the toxin faster than it could cause damage. By minute 10, it was over. Torres had survived. More than survived, he'd adapted. Follow-up testing showed his blood now carried antibodies for 43 of the 47 neurotoxic compounds in Kryllian venom. His body had done in 10 minutes what should take months of controlled exposure and genetic therapy. The recording went straight to military intelligence. Within hours, Research Station Kepler-7 was under complete communications blackout. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. The military didn't want to study what Torres had survived. They wanted to know what he'd become. 3 weeks after the incident, Torres underwent his mandatory fitness evaluation. Standard military protocol. Every soldier gets tested quarterly. Cardiovascular endurance, strength, reaction time, neural processing speed. It's routine. Torres broke 11 facility records. His mile time dropped by 40 seconds. His maximum bench press increased by 60 pounds. His reaction speed improved by 30%. Most shocking, his cognitive test scores jumped 15 points. These weren't small improvements. These weren't normal training gains. This was biological enhancement. Dr. Vasquez pulled his full medical history. Before the venom exposure, Torres was a healthy soldier. Above average fitness. Nothing exceptional. After, his bone density had increased, his muscle fiber composition had changed, his mitochondria, the powerhouses of cells, were producing energy 20% more efficiently. The venom hadn't just failed to kill him, it had made him objectively superior. The military established a classified research program within 72 hours. Code name, Project Adaptation. The goal was simple. Figure out if this was reproducible. If they could weaponize human adaptive immunity, it would change everything. Soldiers who could survive any toxin. Marines who got stronger from chemical exposure. Pilots who could handle combat stims that would kill other species. They recruited 12 volunteers, all human, all military, all with documented histories of surviving venomous encounters. A Marine who'd been stung by a Martian sand scorpion. A Navy pilot exposed to methane processing bacteria on Titan. A combat medic who'd survived nerve agent exposure during the Proxima conflict. The testing was careful. Controlled doses, medical supervision, gradual exposure to alien toxins. 9 volunteers showed the same adaptive response as Torres. Their bodies learned, adapted, improved. 2 showed standard immune reactions. They survived, but didn't enhance. 1 volunteer had a catastrophic allergic response and died before they could intervene. That death almost shut down the project. But the military saw the strategic value. 9 out of 12 was a 75% success rate. Those were acceptable odds for special operations, for soldiers who volunteered, for missions where enhanced resistance could save lives. Project Adaptation went fully classified. Black budget funding, off-book facilities. The Galactic Council was never informed. That's when Dr. Elena Vasquez made her choice. She leaked the research, not to Earth media. That would have been contained. She sent the data to the Galactic Medical Journal, a public database accessible to every species in the Council. She included Torres's original recording, the volunteer test results, the post-exposure enhancement data, everything. She added a 16-page ethical analysis explaining why this was dangerous. Her argument was elegant and terrifying. Humans already made other species nervous. We're aggressive, we're expansionist, we breed fast, we have an uncomfortable history with weaponizing our own biology. And now we had a trait that let us turn poisons into power-ups. From an alien perspective, this was horror movie material. The Vraxians have a saying, never trust a species that benefits from harm. It's based on their evolutionary history. On their homeworld, organisms that could metabolize toxins usually did so to produce even worse toxins. Poison-immune creatures were inevitably predators. To them, humans looked like galactic apex predators in the making. The Tholkar ambassador called an emergency council session. They demanded a full investigation. They wanted to know if Earth was breeding super soldiers, if this was genetic modification, if humans were violating the biological enhancement treaty that every council species had signed. Earth's government denied everything. They claimed Project Adaptation didn't exist, that Torres was a statistical outlier, that Dr. Vasquez had fabricated data. Then 3 more cases went public. A human terraforming engineer on Kepler-9 survived a methane leak that killed 2 Vraxian co-workers. A human botanist on Earth's moon base ingested samples of a toxic fungus and walked away fine. A human tourist on the Tholkar homeworld ate their traditional ceremonial fruit, which contains enough cyanide to kill any non-Tholkar species, and just got a stomach ache. These weren't soldiers. They weren't research subjects. They were regular humans, and they were all demonstrating the same inexplicable resistance. The pattern became impossible to ignore. The Council commissioned an independent medical study. They examined human biology at the genetic level. They compared our DNA to 73 other spacefaring species. They ran simulations and evolutionary models. Their conclusion shocked everyone. Humans didn't evolve toxin resistance despite Earth's hostile environment. We evolved it because Earth should have been uninhabitable. The early planet was an absolute nightmare. Volcanic activity, toxic atmosphere, constant meteor bombardment. Early life on Earth developed in conditions that would sterilize most other worlds. We carry that legacy in every cell. Our DNA has redundancy systems that other species lack. We have multiple copies of critical genes. We have repair mechanisms that can fix radiation damage. We have metabolic pathways that can extract energy from compounds that would poison other organisms. In essence, humans are descended from extremophiles. We just forgot because we terraformed our own planet so effectively. But the trait never went away. It's dormant in most humans, waiting. And when activated by the right stimulus, like exposure to novel toxins, it wakes up. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. The Council's research uncovered something even Earth's scientists didn't know. Humans aren't just resistant to toxins. We're biologically programmed to seek them out. Stay with me here. This sounds insane. But the evidence is overwhelming. Every human culture on Earth has a history of consuming toxic substances for pleasure. Alcohol, literally a poison that we drink for fun. Capsaicin, the chemical that makes peppers hot. It triggers pain receptors. We eat it voluntarily. Caffeine, a natural pesticide that plants produce to kill insects. We brew it every morning. This behavior is unique to humans. No other Earth species seeks out biological irritants for recreation. No other Council species does this either. The Vraxians think human cuisine is a form of gradual suicide. The Tholkar won't enter human restaurants because the smell of spices triggers their flight response. But here's the critical part. Every culture that consumed toxins historically also had lower rates of disease. Populations that ate spicy food showed greater resistance to infection. Societies that brewed alcohol had fewer parasitic illnesses. Groups that chewed bitter herbs lived longer than those who didn't. We thought this was coincidence. Maybe better hygiene, maybe genetic luck. The Council's research showed it was neither. It was adaptive immunity training. By regularly exposing ourselves to mild toxins, we were exercising our biological defense systems. Like a workout for the immune system. Each exposure made us slightly stronger, slightly more resistant. Over generations, populations that engaged in this behavior had better survival rates. We were accidentally making ourselves stronger and never realized it. This explains so much about human behavior that seemed irrational. Why we travel to dangerous places, why we eat strange foods, why we seek out novel experiences even when they're risky. It's not just psychology, it's biology. Our bodies crave challenge because challenge makes us more resilient. The Council called this the human adaptation complex, a cluster of genetic traits that made humans uniquely suited to hostile environments and uniquely dangerous to other species. Because here's the thing nobody wanted to say out loud. If humans can adapt to any toxin, any environment, any biological threat, what stops us from adapting to any enemy? The military implications were staggering, but the existential implications were worse. The Vraxians had been spacefaring for 8,000 years. In that time, they'd encountered 12 species that went extinct. 7 of those extinctions were caused by biological factors. Disease, environmental collapse, inability to adapt to changing conditions. Humans had been in space for 200 years. We'd colonized 17 worlds. We'd survived 4 different pandemics. We'd adapted to environments that killed other species. And we were doing it faster with each generation. From the Vraxians' perspective, humans looked like an invasive species that couldn't be stopped. They called another emergency council session. This time, they proposed restrictions, limits on human colonization, mandatory genetic monitoring, required reporting of any human enhancement cases. Some ambassadors went further. They wanted humans quarantined to Earth and our existing colonies. For our own safety, they said, and everyone else's. Earth's government refused. We'd signed the Council treaties in good faith. We were following galactic law. We couldn't help our biology any more than the Vraxians could help breathing methane, or the Tholkar could help their crystalline skeletal structure. The debate went on for months. It dominated council proceedings. It sparked protests across a dozen worlds. Some human colonies reported discrimination. Alien co-workers refusing to work with humans. Businesses denying service. Children excluded from integrated schools. The galaxy was fracturing along species lines, and it all traced back to Lieutenant David Torres drinking 5 milliliters of death spider venom. But here's what nobody knew. Not the Council, not Earth's government, not even Dr. Vasquez. Torres wasn't the first human to drink that venom. Robert Kim, the technical specialist on Dr. Vasquez's team, had accessed the containment system 6 days before Torres. Station logs showed a 2-minute breach, just enough time to extract a sample. Security footage showed Kim entering the lab alone, then leaving with nothing visible. But Kim never reported any symptoms, never showed any enhancement, never volunteered for project adaptation. When questioned later, he denied everything, said the security breach was a system glitch, said he'd been running maintenance checks. They believed him because his medical scans showed nothing unusual. Except Kim had been more careful than Torres. He'd only taken a single drop. Not enough to trigger obvious enhancement, just enough to start the process. And then he'd waited. By the time Torres made his dramatic demonstration, Kim had already been exposed, already adapted. His body had processed the venom slowly, quietly, over 6 days. The changes were subtle, a bit faster, a bit stronger, nothing that would show up on a standard medical scan. Kim had proven something crucial. Adaptation could be controlled, measured, hidden. He never revealed what he'd done, never published the results. He just lived with it. And when Project Adaptation started recruiting volunteers, he watched from the sidelines. He saw which methods worked, which doses were safe, which protocols produced the best results. Then he retired from the military, moved to a border colony, started a private security company, and began very quietly recruiting humans who'd survived venomous encounters. His company now has 200 employees. They provide security for mining operations in hostile environments. They specialize in disaster response on toxic worlds. They have a 100% survival rate in situations where other species lose 30 to 40% of their personnel. And every single employee has undergone controlled toxin exposure. Legal, voluntary, completely off any government radar. Kim proved that enhancement doesn't need military oversight. It doesn't need classified programs. It just needs knowledge. And humans are very good at sharing knowledge. So what does all this mean for us today? The galaxy's fear of humans isn't irrational. It's based on mathematical projection. If 10% of humans have latent adaptive potential, that's 800 million people. If even 1% actively enhance through controlled exposure, that's 80 million. That's not a military force. That's a biological phenomenon, and it's completely unregulated. The Galactic Council tried to implement monitoring systems. They failed. Human colonial space is too vast. Earth's government couldn't enforce restrictions even if they wanted to. Private companies like Kim's operate in legal gray areas. Individual colonists self-experiment with local toxins and never report results. Enhancement is spreading organically, quietly, inevitably. For humans, the implications are complex. On one hand, this trait could save lives. Colonists on toxic worlds could survive exposures that would kill others. Medical personnel could treat dangerous patients without risk. Rescue workers could operate in contaminated zones. On the other hand, this creates inequality. Enhanced humans would have advantages over baseline humans. Better jobs, better survival rates, higher status. Over time, you'd see genetic stratification, a biological class system based on who's been exposed to what. Some futurists predict humanity will split into separate subspecies, enhanced colonists adapting to their specific worlds, baseline humans remaining on Earth, crossbreeding becoming difficult as genetic drift increases. Others argue this is human evolution entering a new phase, self-directed adaptation. We're not waiting for natural selection anymore. We're choosing our traits, guiding our development. This could be the key to surviving hostile alien environments across the galaxy. The ethics are murky. Nobody's forcing anyone to drink venom, but economic pressure might create unofficial requirements. Want to work in deep space? Better have toxin resistance. Want to colonize a new world? Better be able to adapt. Want to compete with enhanced workers? Better catch up. This is happening right now, today. Station Kepler-7 is still operational. Project Adaptation technically ended, officially. But research continues under different names. Private companies offer environmental acclimation therapy. Medical tourism operations provide adaptive immune training. The genie's out of the bottle, and no one's putting it back. For alien species, the fear is existential. They've seen this pattern before. Species that adapt rapidly tend to outcompete static species. Evolution doesn't care about ethics or fairness. It rewards survival. And humans are becoming very good at survival. Some species are responding with their own enhancement programs. The Vraxians funded genetic modification research. The Tholkar are experimenting with cybernetic augmentation. The Kryllians are isolating adaptation genes from their own population. It's becoming an arms race. Not a military arms race, a biological one. And those are harder to control, harder to negotiate, harder to stop. 3 scenarios dominate expert predictions. First scenario: integration. Humans and aliens figure out coexistence. Maybe enhanced humans create technologies that benefit everyone. Maybe the adaptation trait gets shared through genetic therapy. Maybe the galaxy becomes more resilient overall. Second scenario: segregation. Species separate into optimized zones. Humans dominate toxic worlds. Methane breathers stick to their environments. Everyone avoids conflict by avoiding contact. The galaxy becomes fragmented but stable. Third scenario: conflict. Competition for resources intensifies. Enhanced humans push into territories others can't survive. Resentment builds. Small incidents escalate. The council fractures. Nobody wants war, but nobody knows how to prevent it. Right now, we're somewhere between scenarios 1 and 2. There's tension, but not violence. Trade continues. Diplomatic channels stay open. But the trends aren't encouraging. Human colonies are expanding faster than predicted. Enhanced individuals are seeking out the most challenging environments, the ones other species abandoned as uninhabitable. We're filling ecological niches that were empty, taking worlds nobody else wanted, and we're thriving there. This creates soft power, economic leverage, strategic position. Earth doesn't need to be aggressive. Humans just need to keep going where others can't. Keep adapting to conditions that would kill anyone else. Keep proving we can survive anywhere. Eventually, that makes us indispensable or uncontainable, depending on your perspective. For individual humans, the choice is personal. Do you enhance? Do you expose yourself to controlled risks for potential benefits? Do you accept the social and biological consequences? There's no right answer. Some see it as human potential unleashed. Others see it as tampering with evolution. Both views have merit. What's undeniable is this: the human relationship with toxins is unique in the known galaxy. It's given us advantages nobody predicted. It's created tensions nobody anticipated. And it's changing faster than our laws, ethics, or social structures can manage. Lieutenant Torres didn't mean to start a crisis. He just wanted to test a hypothesis. Dr. Vasquez didn't mean to spark a diplomatic incident. She just wanted to prevent abuse. Robert Kim didn't mean to prove enhancement could be privatized. He just wanted to survive. But individual actions have species-level consequences, and humanity's actions are being watched by 17 spacefaring civilizations who are trying to decide if we're partners, competitors, or threats. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. 6 months after the council report went public, Dr. Vasquez disappeared. Official records say she resigned from Research Station Kepler-7 and moved to a colony in the Outer Rim. Her last known location was Terminus Station, a border outpost at the edge of mapped space. After that, nothing. No communications, no financial transactions, no travel records. The military claimed she wanted privacy after the controversy. Earth's government suggested she'd gone underground to avoid council scrutiny. The station officially closed her case after 90 days. But Dr. Priya Nakamura didn't believe any of it. Nakamura spent a year investigating. She tracked Vasquez's movements through old security footage and data logs. She found evidence that Vasquez had been in contact with a Vraxian research group, one that specialized in xenobiology and cross-species medicine. The messages were encrypted, careful, but they were there. The last message Vasquez sent was 18 words long. Meeting the Vraxian team. They've found something about human adaptation I need to see. We'll report soon. She never reported. and the Vraxian research group denied any meeting ever took place. Nakamura filed Freedom of Information requests. She petitioned the council for an investigation. She contacted journalists. Everyone stonewalled her. The story went nowhere. Too complicated, too political, too dangerous. Then, 2 years after Vasquez vanished, Nakamura received a package. No return address. No identifying marks. Inside was a data chip with a single video file. It was Vasquez, alive, healthy, speaking directly to camera. She'd been working with the Vraxians voluntarily. They'd offered her something Earth's military never did: unrestricted research freedom. They wanted to understand human adaptation, not to weaponize it, but to replicate it. Their species was dying. Slow population decline caused by environmental toxins their bodies couldn't process. They needed adaptation to survive. Vasquez had been helping them for 18 months, and she discovered something extraordinary. Human adaptive immunity could be transferred, not through genetics. That was too slow. But through specialized protein complexes. Biological instruction sets that taught other species' immune systems how to adapt. It was early research. Incomplete. But promising. If it worked, humans wouldn't be unique anymore. Any species could potentially develop our resistance, our flexibility, our resilience. The biological arms race could end. Everyone could benefit from the trait that made us special. But Vasquez had one warning. The research was being monitored. By Earth, by the Council, by military intelligence from multiple species. Everyone wanted the data. Nobody wanted it shared freely. The moment anyone knew it existed, it would become classified, controlled, weaponized. So she stayed, disappeared. She continued research in hidden labs. She recruited scientists from 5 species who were willing to work in secret. She built a network of researchers who cared more about science than politics. Her final message to Nakamura was simple. If anything happens to me, release everything, all the data, all the research, make it public. Let every species decide for themselves. Nakamura never released the video. She kept it encrypted, backed up in multiple locations, waiting, because releasing it would prove Earth's government was tracking Vasquez. It would expose the Vraxian research program. It would force the Council to respond. Nobody knew if that response would be cooperation or crackdown. The video remains hidden. Vasquez remains missing. The research continues somewhere in unmapped space, and the galaxy remains divided on what to do about humanity. But here's the truth that nobody's saying. Adaptation is inevitable. Whether through natural evolution, controlled enhancement, or transferred immunity, species will adapt or decline. Earth's hostile environment forced us to evolve resilience faster than most. But we're not unique by design, just by circumstance. The real question isn't whether humans are dangerous. It's whether we'll share what we've learned or hoard it for advantage. Whether we'll help other species develop resistance or use ours as leverage. Lieutenant Torres proved humans could survive the unsurvivable. Robert Kim proved we could control the process. Dr. Vasquez proved we could potentially share it. 3 humans, 3 choices, 3 different visions of humanity's future in the galaxy. The story of the human who drank death spider venom and lived isn't just about biology. It's about what we choose to do with power, whether we see other species as threats or partners, whether we believe survival is a zero-sum game or a collective goal. Right now, humanity stands at a crossroads. We have a trait that frightens the galaxy. We could weaponize it. We could isolate ourselves with it, or we could use it to make every species more resilient. The choice isn't made by governments or councils. It's made by individuals. By scientists like Vasquez who choose collaboration over control. By soldiers like Torres who choose transparency over secrecy. By entrepreneurs like Kim who choose to share knowledge rather than monopolize it. and by regular humans on 1,000 different worlds who decide every day whether to enhance, whether to adapt, whether to seek out challenge or avoid it. The galaxy's watching, waiting, trying to predict what humanity will become. Maybe we're predators, maybe we're partners, maybe we're something the galaxy's never seen before. Only time will tell. But one thing's certain. We're not going away, we're not staying put, and we're not done adapting. The venom that should have killed Torres made him stronger. That's not magic, that's human biology. That's the legacy of evolving on a world that tried to kill us every day. For millions of years, we survived, we thrived, and now we're taking that trait to the stars. If this opened your eyes to something you'd never considered, let's recap what we've uncovered. Humans possess biological adaptation capabilities that are unprecedented in the known galaxy. When exposed to toxins that would kill other species instantly, we can survive, adapt, and even enhance. This trait stems from millions of years evolving on Earth, a planet so hostile it would be classified as a death world by galactic standards. What seems normal to us terrifies other species. The incident at Research Station Kepler-7 revealed this capability to the galaxy. Lieutenant Torres' decision to drink Kryllian death spider venom wasn't reckless, it was calculated. And it changed everything. It sparked military research programs, diplomatic crises, and fundamental questions about humanity's place in galactic society. The implications ripple outward in every direction. Enhanced humans are already operating across the frontier. Private companies are providing controlled exposure protocols. Individuals are self-experimenting with local toxins. And somewhere in unmapped space, Dr. Vasquez is working on technology that could give this trait to every species. The future isn't written yet, but the patterns are clear. Humanity is adapting faster than galactic law can regulate, and we're forcing every other species to make a choice about whether we're a threat or an opportunity. This is happening right now. This isn't speculation or science fiction. This is the documented reality of human expansion into hostile space. If this story fascinated you, hit that subscribe button. We cover the most shocking human capabilities that are changing galactic civilization. Next video dives into why human military tactics are considered psychological warfare by 4 different species, and why the Galactic Council tried to ban our approach to ground combat. Drop a comment and tell me, would you undergo controlled toxin exposure for enhanced resistance? Where do you draw the line between natural evolution and artificial enhancement? The debate's happening across the galaxy. Let's have it here too. And if you want to go deeper, check out the video on screen now about why human music is classified as a potential mimetic weapon by the Tholkar species. Turns out, our brains process rhythm in ways that can destabilize alien neural patterns. The galaxy's watching humanity, and honestly, we're just getting started. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay bold, and remember, we evolved on a death world. Everything else is easy mode.